close to 1 billion streams of his 6 albums to date, Chad Daniels is one of the most listened to comedians of all time. Originally from and still living in rural Minnesota, Chad joins us live this morning before making his way to Fargo this weekend. So welcome to North Dakota, Chad. Thanks so much. And now we had talked a little bit earlier in the show about eating healthy, and I know that Little Debbie zebra cakes is one of your favorite snacks.
Well, I love zebra rolls. So
oh, zebra rolls.
The cake is fine, of course, but what they've done with the roll is absolute perfection, I think.
I think we all agree with that, and that's why we're trying to eat healthy now that it's the new year. Maybe had too many of those zebra rolls over the week. So 6 late night appearances to date, 13 comics, and you were one of them to be featured on The Tonight Show with Conan Bryan. What was that like?
Time there. So it was kind of nice to get in that window and get in there. And I had some friends from high school come up, and it was really fun. It was really fun to get to experience that. But doing the Conan show on TBS was a lot more fun, in my opinion, because it was more laid back and it wasn't so corporate. So I had a lot of fun on his show.
And now I did just watch part of your comedy special. How does it feel that you had the most streamed comedy album of 2017?
It doesn't make a lot of sense to my brain. I mean, I don't know. You know, you hear algorithm all the time when you're talking about social media and, you know, Pandora and Spotify and stuff, but it's obviously flattering. It's very surreal. And that album is called Footprints on the Moon. And it's basically, my son is the star of that album. And so, you know, he deserves the credit for that one.
Now, I actually lived in Fergus Falls for a few years.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm kidding. I like it, obviously.
So I
still live here.
I wonder sometimes if we're neighbors. But one thing that I loved about the way that you deliver comedy is you have a cadence. It's not just a comedic cadence, because obviously you have to have that as a comedian, but I almost got like a little bit of Midwest in there. How does coming from the Midwest and coming from this area kind of shape your comedy?
I think you're not as aggressive. I mean, I can say some dark things at times because you're talking about life and life can get dark, but I think there's always that little Midwestern, you know, chipper attitude about things that can be pretty brutal.
And you have a podcast as well that people can find. Tell us about that.
It's called Middle of Somewhere, and my friend Cy Amundsen and I would call each other once a week, and we would be on the phone for an hour anyways, making each other laugh about what was going on during our weeks. And so we thought, well, why don't we try recording this and see what happens? And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And, you know, I'll go all over the US and Canada and stuff like that. And people will come up and go, oh man, and they'll have the t-shirts from the podcast and tell me, you know, oh, thanks for continuing to do it through the pandemic. It helped for us to listen to blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of nice to know that you're spanning out and people are actually listening.
And I think almost you undervalue that, because I have heard of you, and I had just recently listened to you again, seeing that you were coming on the show. And I mean, I'm a huge fan. I actually have comedy on my Sirius XM. It's one of my presets.
Oh, nice.
So love listening to it. And I mean, you're much bigger, I think, than your you know, Midwest personality gives off. You're so much fun to watch. And then you did your latest album, 12th Night, and that was recorded at your home club, correct?
Yeah, it was at Acme Comedy Company. I had this hour that I was building before lockdown, and I didn't do comedy during lockdown. So I recorded this on the 12th night that I had done stand-up in a calendar year. And everyone was like, what are you doing? Why would you ever do that? But it was really fun to just kind of break down the fourth wall and let people know that when comedians don't practice, they stutter and they stammer and they say and they forget their jokes. So I called it 12th Night. And it was interesting because on this album, I talk about my daughter more, and her name is Olivia. And Shakespeare's 12th Night is basically the star of 12th Night is Olivia, and she is mourning her brother's death, which my son has not died, but I don't talk about him as much on this album. And so I thought it was really interesting. And I didn't even know that until I had done a little bit of research after I named it. So it was a pretty lucky guess on the name.
Kind of a life imitating art, imitating life scenario there.
Absolutely.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. And now you're coming to Fargo at Sanctuary Event Center, which is an awesome venue. Have you been there before?
I have. It's so incredible. So they've asked me to try some different venues throughout Fargo, but once I hit Sanctuary, I absolutely loved it. And Sometimes it means doing an extra show, but it is so worth it. The staff there, they're so great. It's a comfortable place. The sound is amazing, and it's just got a really good vibe to it. So, I'll be back at Sanctuary as long as they will have me, for sure.
So the show's on Saturday, starts at 7. Ticket prices are, I think, very fairly priced considering the caliber of the show that they get to watch. They're $29. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, make sure that you get them online. Anything that you want to tell us, little hints maybe about?
They are just about the show. It's a new hour, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and getting out and getting to see familiar faces and doing the bits. I just can't wait. And I have a great opener coming, and there's an extra show that we added at I think it's 9:30.
Fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the famous Chad Daniels. He will have an awesome show in Fargo on Saturday. I know that I can't wait to see it. Hopefully we see a lot of you guys out there. And Chad, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, coming up on today's show, an avid cyclist raising money to make sure children are a little bit safer while they're riding, and how you can help get helmets for your kids. Stay with us.